范冰冰健康美丽课堂，每天动一动，每天大声笑，每天睡个饱。还有天窝蜂蜜柚子茶，蜂蜜带来健康，柚子带来美丽，健康美丽喝洒哟。天窝蜂蜜柚子茶。
好了，各位观众，欢迎回来。我们来看一下刚才那场比赛 ，WE 和 WEA 的第二场较量。虽然说 WEA 在初期依旧是打得不错，但是到后期的话依然无法抵挡 WE 这边一波又一波的攻势，最终败下阵来。
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the English coverage of the LPL here live on Twitch TV. Of course, brought to you in part by our friends at Games in Asia and Gosu Gamers. I'm Rapid. I'm here with Nero, and we're going to hop into our second best of 3 of the night. And to be honest, this game is going to be one of the best games you'll see all weekend long. There's a lot more games left to be played, so I can't say that too confidently, but what I can say is that these are the best 2 teams in LPL. Of course, it's OMG taking on EDG, and it doesn't get much better than this. This is, of course, again, a matchup for first place, as with their 2-0 victory previously, World Elite actually eclipsed OMG for first place in LPL. So OMG looking to bring things back to first place. Of course, EDG climbing up there as well. So 2-0 victory for either one of these teams will put them up there at the head of the standings.
Yeah, definitely a lot of it is on the stake, but I think to point out, OMG, they have been dominant in the LPL for such a long time, pretty much owning every single... Oh, just look at the predictions right here.
Oh, and this is actually a big difference. Last game was all 2-0s. Now, Joker says 1-1, whereas Wawa's just like, no, this is 0-2 for OMG. But we also have a 2-0 for Edward Gaming, so this is so close. It's so interesting to see every single different possibility represented out there in the casters' predictions. Where do you fall on this issue? Because I know there's a big discrepancy between LPL games and actual tournament games between these 2 teams.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what I wanted to say. Actually, OMG was such a dominating team in the previous splits, but right now, there comes EDG. They are much stronger, but they actually climb up slowly but surely. And that started in the previous split. OMG were winning confidently. Then, actually kind of shakily, and EDG managed to come out on top. Lately in the tournaments, in the IEM and the IET, they won both best of 3s 2-0. And now they are looking for a 2-0 in the regular season to finally overthrow the Emperors of China.
So let's go over the starting lineups for both teams, starting out with Edward Gaming. You can see in the top lane, it's Koro1, who's been playing just about every kind of champion you could ever imagine. He favors kind of the tank champions, but he's been going more aggressive just to facilitate a lot more strategic options for EDG. And there he is, Clear Love. Of course, former World Elite player. Been playing, he's a fan of the man, Jarvan, the 4th. His favorite jungler, but shouldn't expect him to see on that here tonight. Of course, moving on to the mid lane matchup, this is you. And while the team has been sort of forcing him more towards the Ziggs stall efforts, expect to see his Syndra banned away from him because that is one of his best champions.
Yeah, so both of these teams have really strong picks right there. So the picks and bans might look surprising, actually, because I don't think that this will be a general Cassidy, Kale ban, as always. This will be more targeted by far. And yeah, Lee Sin, both of the junglers will be targeting at Lee Sin so much, so we'll see. Maybe a ban, maybe a pick.
Rounding things out for the bottom lane there, it's Name, and his support for this game will be FZZF. And you're like, well, why is that a surprise? FZZF's support for every game. Because it's a big contrast. The duo lane of Name and FZZS, regardless of their individual strengths combined, they are probably the best duo lane in China right now. They are monsters at the game, and a huge contrast in strength when you look at OMG, whose bottom lane is going to be changing it up here for their series tonight.
Yes, there's a lot of changes coming in from OMG because Cloud cannot actually attend all of the games right now. So we don't really know as of yet who is going to be playing, but here we go. The support of OMG, the big reveal is going to be Tricky Boy, aka Neymar or Coma or Data7.
Yeah, he's got a lot of different names. Probably you guys know him as Coma, but he will be the support here down in the bottom lane. And to be fair, OMG coming into this series, of course there you can see San on the screen right now. San maybe a little bit better in team fights, but vastly weaker than Name in the lane phase. So expect a 2v1 almost assuredly. Of course, as we move in, we're going to see the newly hairstyled mid laner for OMG. It's cool. And together he and Drug have been sort of cosplaying. They played a Rise Lee Sin combo before as two bald champions. Of course, right after their haircuts. And that does mean next in the roster is going to be Drug. This is Loveland or Allen, in case you guys know him as those players. But as far as champions are concerned, it's all Lee Sin and Rengar.
Yeah, so compared to Cool, well, Drug definitely looks a lot funnier than him. Going in the top lane. Actually, right now, Going. I remember him having a different nickname right there in the top lane. Things change. There we go, Jackson Kale. So, Kale most probably banned, as always.
Exactly. We saw 2 Kale bans earlier in our first best of 2 of the night between We and We Academy. But while we were talking about and highlighting the discrepancy in bottom lane where Name and FZZF, one of the best duo lanes in China, I'm super excited to see that lane matchup down there because top lane is going to be the opposite direction. Going is looking incredibly strong, and against Koro 1, I like Going's chances. So expect to see a lane swap. Kind of both teams wanting that for very different reasons, and mostly just because it is the current meta in LPL. You go for the lane swap, get your AD carry incredibly fed, and then around the you can either take a super early dragon, super just mid-game dragon, go for that big mid-game power spike, see how it works out.
Yeah, that will most probably be a lane swap coming out from OMG because San's laning phase is not better than Name, to say the least. He'll definitely want to get as farmed as possible and then go for the late game carry, such as Kog'Maw, most probably. Unless they go for some really crazy thing right here in this matchup. But yeah, definitely San, he is just focusing on the late game. He is not the best laning carry right there in the LPL, so he will definitely look for a lane swap. And Name, he is definitely the best in pretty much everything that an AD carry can be good at.
Yeah, speaking of late game, we saw a very early game centric comp previously from World Elite Academy. World Elite Academy and Young Glory down at the bottom of the standings are some of the only teams that will go for that big early game. LGD does it a little bit too. But here tonight, these teams both have incredibly long average game times. It's up around 40 minutes or that neighborhood. So like you said, San plays for the late game. And that's actually going to be a big strength for OMG. They're going to be trying to drag this out. I almost said drug this out. He's in the jungle. They're going to be trying to drag this out as long as they possibly can. Let San do the carrying. So Kog'Maw, Tristana, they're both going to be very, very big AD carry picks. You're not going to see any like Ezreal, even though that's one of San's champions. He's played that before, but it's going to be late game for both of these teams as it has always been.
Lee Sin ban coming out straight away, so yeah. Actually, I was talking about both of the junglers are so good at Lee Sin right now, and no pick for that one. Not get to see it. So yeah, the AD carries right here are gonna be a big thing because Name played something like Jinx lately. We don't see a lot of Jinx in the LPL, but he also loves a champion like Twitch, which would be a really good thing to see once again. We haven't seen Twitch for a long time, actually.
Yeah, we've seen Twitch, but mostly it's been in those big wombo combo team comps that not a lot of teams are running anymore. Sometimes you'll get like the super hard engage, but like you said, yeah, haven't seen the Twitch out there. Didn't expect the Yasuo ban versus Cool. It's a very common LPL ban, but Cool has not put up very strong Yasuo performances, so still the respect ban out there. And it's no questions asked about the Syndra ban. It's kind of a contested pick between them, but mostly kind of confused because you would be the one to play that. But if you're banning Syndra, if you're banning the Kog'Maw, you're not banning Kassadin. And Koro1 equally easily will lock it in for Edward Gaming. OMG, they get 2 picks, but they're gonna have to make them count.
Well, talking about not seeing Twitch for a long time, it's been a lot longer than that I haven't seen Kassadin unbanned. This is just incredible. He'll get picked up, he'll go to you, who is such a strong mid laner. Allows to be playing these assassins, so
yeah,
that
I was having a discussion before this game of like which players are going to be playing which champions, like what their favorite champions, their comfort picks are, and I didn't list Kassadin because he's always banned. Like Kassadin getting through is something you can never expect, and OMG knew this. They had to be aware that they might let Kassadin through. So what is the champion they go for as the counter pick? Because you almost can't just counter Kassadin in lane because he just comes back and gets you late game, where this series is almost assuredly going.
Yeah, they got this Jax in exchange, so it's kind of okay, but Cole has to deal with this Kassadin in the middle lane, so that will be quite a big struggle. And he goes for Orianna.
But San locking in the Corki. That's a little bit interesting just because it does not have a very good win ratio. I think it has 33% win ratio in LPL, so not quite what you're looking at for AD carries, but the wins that Corki has have been incredibly dominant, and Name hovering over Singed.
Yeah, I haven't actually noticed that Kale is unbanned right here, so that will most probably be the pick.
Yeah, exactly, and Going and Koro1 have both been playing a ton of Kales. And as much as I'd love to see the Singed out there, that is going to be a Kale pick for Koro1.
Yeah, but a smart ban coming out from OMG, just not letting Name have this Kog'Maw. But still, it is San who wants to be the late game carry, so once again, Syndra banned by you, from you, and actually OMG bans Kog'Maw against their own AD carry.
Yeah, and the big thing that we expected to see was the late game AD carry focus, but we're not seeing it at all. Very early game carries here in Lucian and Corki, and of course both of them have their places. Corki with a lot of poke damage, but Lucian with just a lot more mobility and overall team fight contribution. Of course, the last pick in here is going to be Elise jungle for Drug. And that's going to be versus Clearlove's Evelynn. This is a very different switch from what you're used to seeing. Rengar is left up, and it's been sort of the go-to jungler for offense between a lot of junglers and teams in LPL. But Rengar's not represented. It's Elise versus Evelynn. Battle of the E's in the jungle here tonight as OMG look to retain their first place spot against Edward Gaming.
Yeah, and that is weird. You have this Jax already in your lineup, so why not go for the Rengar? And you have an Orianna, why not go for the Invisible? That is... Yeah, the picks and bans have surprised us today already a lot of times. And yeah, I told you this is not gonna be the regular picks and bans. These two teams, it's much more than just going for the regular bans.
Yeah, and that is going to do it for picks and bans between OMG and Edward Gaming. It's game number 1 in this best of 2 series here in the LPL, and we'll have game 1 starting for you guys in just a second. So stick around, stay tuned, and don't go anywhere. We'll be back with game 1 between OMG and Edward Gaming.
好，我们看到 EDG 和 OMG 都已经准备就绪，马上就到双方的第一场较量。比赛已经开始了，蓝色阵方 EDG 战队，而红色阵方是 OMG。
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the English coverage of the LPL. Of course, brought to you here on Twitch TV, made possible in part by our friends at Games in Asia and Gosu Gamers, and of course by viewers like you. So we thank you all for tuning in to watch the matchup between the best 2 teams in LPL. Of course, it's OMG in the red, coming out onto the Rift to take on Edward Gaming in the blue.
No lane swap coming out as of yet, too. So San is confident in facing Name.
And that is a very bold statement to make. The Name FZZF combo is something I don't think any dual lane in LPL would want to go for. No, Name gets the free trade, and he's actually, he gets the double shot, but can't take out the ward. It'll die in 30 seconds, but still, would have been nice to have that vision off the map. So, while you said, hey, we're setting up for standard lanes, can't count anything out just yet. Some aggressive positioning here. Cool, going, and Drug all maybe looking for either a minor pick to start the game or some pressure on this at EDG blue buff.
Alright, so 130 the minions will be spawning in just a second. And EDG versus OMG, the hyped up matchup of today. The big fight for the first place. It's coming out right here. For the dominance of the LPL, actually. But you definitely can't count out the World's Lead that have rised up.
And interestingly enough, this isn't our first place game of the night. World Elite actually just took first place away from OMG with their 2-0 victory over We Academy. And so coming in here tonight, it's two more teams with a chance at first place as OMG take on Edward Gaming. Now, keep in mind the first place standing for OMG is against every team in LPL. And when you talk about the head-to-head score, like you mentioned earlier, it's 5-1 in favor of OMG. So they're 5-1 versus EDG in LPL. But in just tournament play overall, OMG are actually looking a lot weaker. They just dropped a game to Young Glory in LPL, and they're 1-5 versus EDG in tournaments like IGT and IEM. So not looking very strong at all coming into tonight's matchup. And with the support player Neymar filling in for Cloud as he has exams, OMG are in a very rough spot taking on the number 2 team in China.
OMG just losing the strength with time, and EDG just getting better and better right now. And actually, talk about the stand-in, Coma, Tricky Boy, whatever you'd like to call him, he once again has a different nickname right now. It's 7777, or it's just 3 sevens. I can't even see it. That is just horrible. 6 nicknames right now he has, I think.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with Neymar. That's what he used. Okay, he's changed his name in like the last 3 times he's played too, because last week he was Neymar, now he's 777. So I have no idea.
I'll stick to Coma. That's his original nickname.
Exactly, like everybody knows him as Coma. So just why fix it if it ain't broke now? Oh, the dead sentence from across the wall. Not gonna land there. 777 was trying for like the Kiwi Kid play, but he didn't work out quite as well. So a nice attempt to put the pressure on to you, but Cassidy actually out farming Orianna at this point. Never something you should see.
And you is just a strong mid laner right there, and giving him a Cassidy on top of that, this might be a tough matchup for Cool. Yeah, Cool definitely will be looking for the fights later on with this Orianna Shockwaves.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Cool, I mean, he's been ramping up, but in the games versus, or most recent games versus...
going on in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I was going to see the jump in by going. The cocoon will land from Drug. Oh my gosh, he pulled a Nintendo X there with the prediction on the CC. Just really, really strong. But the dash backwards, Name just made sure to save his summoners. Did have to use both of them, so heal and flash down on Name. So no kills, but a big summoner spell advantage.
Yeah, and teleport burned by Korowan also from the top lane just to scare them away.
And you can see Clearlove's coming up top lane as well. This is going to be a gank in here onto San. Clearlove is right there, and San didn't read that in time. Forced Valkyrie all the way back to his turret.
And there's still going to be the push coming in from Clearlove.
The big push to top lane is not necessarily something that's super worrying to San. Corki has like really good AoE wave clear, phosphorus bomb and autos. early. Good to clear out the wave. But the problem is that Yu's getting like free time in the mid lane after Cool got pushed back to base. So Cool will come back with an overall stronger item build, but he's going to be down in CS as Kassadin's just CSing away, looking for his first big mana buy with a Philosopher's Stone, most likely.
Well, you looked a little bit better with the CSing a while earlier. Right now, they both backed away, and you is just 3 or 4 CS ahead. Who will be sticking to evening this thing up, and it will still look quite good for OMG as well. But I'm waiting for the Dragon focus, because in the previous games, actually lately, and this week and the previous week, we have seen a lot of Dragon focus in the early game.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about teams like IG and LGD specifically. They both go for these like really wacky, like 3-minute dragons off the lane swap. One of them does, one of them doesn't. I can't remember exactly who it is. But yeah, we're seeing by and large later dragon timings, more standard around like the 10 to 11 minute mark. Still a little bit early, but see how that works out. Now 777, aka Neymar, he's gonna start this up, but Sandra's aggro ahead of schedule, and now he's gonna Valkyrie backwards, force the flash over the wall, but San misplayed that dive super hard, and it was supposed to be Thresh tanking up the turret, and even still would have been a horrible dive idea because Clearlove was right there, or rather FCZF was right there to keep Coral 1 alive. So already a very shaky start for OMG as they fail that top lane dive. Now Clearlove in the bottom, he's going for the same thing. Let's see if EDG can pull off the same dive in a better way.
I mean, it still would have been really bad going against Kale. Well, there's a lot of damage coming out from her, and then even in a 2v1, it would have been a risky thing for OMG.
This is kind of reminiscent from the second game between World Elite and World Elite Academy early on. You kind of look at EDG's lineup and you're like, what champion didn't they get? They got the same duo lane that World Elite got of the Lucian Braum combo, which is ridiculous. And last time it was World Elite that got Ziggs for Ninja. Doesn't get much stronger than Kassadin here for you. And I mean, sure, maybe they'd pick Lee Sin as a jungler, which is something that World Elite got earlier. But with the Kale top lane, it's a champion that's been banned every single game, at least tonight. And it's probably one you're going to see continuing to be banned along with the Gragas as far as top laners go. So almost a picture perfect team comp here for EDG. OMG playing the more sort of team fight style if you want to go for like the siege into engage. But I just don't know, giving so many strong picks to EDG. And with the games, keep in mind, they're going longer and longer between these two teams. 40-minute game average means that you're going to get to late game when Kale Kassadin is just going to be so ridiculous. He's just going to jump wherever he wants to, and he's got 3 seconds of invulnerability. Plus 2.5 from Zhonya's.
Yeah, so that's just the Jax right there, who tries to ramp up in the late game, but well, Jax alone can't really carry against the Kale and the Kassadin. Pretty much. That's going to be the problem, the big problem for OMG. You can't really win it at any point in the game.
Yeah, and if OMG are going to win it, it's going to be off of their top laner. Going is, the command shockwave used in the mid lane, though. You gonna get ignited. Mostly just pressure there. Cool. Kind of wasting his ignite. But just wants to push Kassadin out of lane. Keep him from being a big factor there. But like I said, yeah, Going. He's playing a late game scaling champion. He's got pretty easy lane phase so far. He's not been shut down too far behind on CS. The big problem, though, is that he's inherently a split pusher. He's going to side lane and then TP in. So in the 4v4, he just won't be there.
Alright, so we'll see how it develops. And there's you. Actually slowly coming back to the lane.
Slow gonna come down again. There's the FZZF Clearlove. They're both there. The flash in from Name. Where did he even come from? Diving underneath the turret. Yu's tanking it up so he can rift walk backwards and drop aggro. Does take that last turret shot. The summoner heal used is a small prize to pay by Name, who will grab 2 kills in the first 2 of the game. EDG. I think I kills on both their carries off of that mid lane push. Name, of course, He came from almost off the screen, an entire screen away, flash, dash forward, grabs the first kill. Now off the back of those 2 kills mid, EDG going for Dragon.
Yeah, and it looked so passively. FCCF was standing there for the whole time, Clearlove also, and they were just waiting to kind of prevent OMG from taking down this turret in the mid, but actually Yu just comes back, Rift walks back in, and there comes Name from the side, and they burn 2 summoner spells from Name, but it still is really worth it. Getting 2 kills, especially shutting down Cool even more. He's in such a bad matchup against this Kassadin, and he even dies in the middle lane. That is getting tough for him.
More importantly, that just sets you closer and closer to his Rod of Ages. If you get Rod of Ages before like the 13-minute mark, that is incredibly, incredibly good. And you should have that right around that time period. Another big thing to notice is if you look at Clearlove's jungle Evelyn, he has almost more CS than any other laner. He's only 10 behind Going. He's had pretty easy lane phase so far. So as a jungler, he's doing very, very well for himself already with the Spirit of the Elder Lizard completed. So he'll be looking to put on some dragon pressure for the next one, certainly, just because he's had so much pressure already so far.
And that will definitely look good for them. And 2 turrets already went down. 1 in the top lane for OMG, 1 in the bottom lane for EDG. And the 1 in the mid will also be quite low after this fight. Right there. So maybe after the mid turret, EDG will just go for the dragon straight away.
FCCS was coming up there to try to defend that Wraithbush Pink Ward, or Red Buff Brush Pink Ward, but not able to do that. OMG get a nice rotation towards mid lane off of that weird Pink Ward champion positioning. They're just like, do we defend this? Do we not? Let's back off. Let's run the other way. OMG capitalizing on the indecision. We'll take out the mid lane turret, so that's 2-1. And mid lane turret probably the most definitive turret out there on the map. It really opens up the entrances to the enemy jungle and takes a lot of that security away from being in the mid lane, which is honestly where you wants to stay for as long as it can.
Well, EDG will have a lot of security right there.
Oh, cool. Face checks the brush. Not where he wants to be, but is he going to live? Oh my god. OMG. Living up to their name with an epic escape. They get cool out alive.
Well, now security is not about having a turret. It's about having vision. And now EDG coming out on top of that, definitely. And turning around to try and go for this push in the mid. And then following it into a dragon, just as I said, most probably.
Oh, the death sentence follows you out under the turret. That looked pretty weird, but nice grab there by Neymar. Still having to figure out which name I'm going to call it. What is his Neymar?
Well, let's call him every name that he has.
Or should we call
right
him a different name every time?
Yes, and then the viewers will be wondering what are we talking about.
Like, I hate us so much. Like, well, this time he's 777, but next time he's Coma, then he's whatever else. Oh my god.
And if we use every other name in one single team fight, then EDG is like gonna be in a 5v10.
I don't want people to mute quite that quickly, so we'll leave things for a little bit longer. EDG, incredibly strong early start. You can see the Infinity Edge rush from Name. He's not going for sort of the NA Lucian build where you get Blade of the Ruined King into Yomu's Ghost Blade. It's more the attack speed oriented Lucian. And traditionally what you'd see, at least out of different regions, but it's been the straight up Infinity Edge for both Lucians we've seen tonight. So, big power spike coming now as Name completes the IE.
Alright, so as you said, there is the Rod of Ages on you around the 13 or 14 minutes mark. So that is really good. This Kassadin is going to be even stronger and stronger, and cool. He is finally getting ahead in CS, but, well, being a kill down already might hurt him a lot.
And actually, if you look at the builds here, this is a power spike for every single member of EDG. You have, oh, I thought that was Nashor's, not just the singer. But, alright, so not false alarm there. Koro still needs to get his Nashor's Tooth out there. But you have Evelyn with the Spirit of the Lizard Elder, Rod of Ages, Sightstone, Infinity Edge. There's just every item you could want on every champion. For Edward Gaming, OMG, they've got the Trinity Forest and the Athenes completed, but there's still no Trinity Force for the top lane Jax. Spirit of the Ancient Golem for Elise is a defensive item, so she'll be tanky, but no damage. And then, of course, Thresh with comparable support items won't really impact this fight either way. Top lane turret being taken down by Korra 1.
So EDG finally giving this thing out after they didn't take the middle turret when they were supposed to.
Maybe Dada7 thought that by adding 2 more 7s to his name, he'd make himself like super lucky and, you know, then go on to win the rest of his games. So he's like, I'm going to be 777 this time around because the rest of my names aren't really doing it for me. Neymar had some rough performances, at least so far, but we'll see if he can bring things back. And honestly, a very deathless game up through 20 minutes, just kind of going with that common theme of OMG EDG games, where they, I think, have an average game length of like 40 minutes or something.
Well, having a nickname Neymar would be fed up with 7s already. But still, OMG trying to go for the lucky charm right there. Yeah, Son didn't really go for this 2v2 in the bottom lane. They did lane swap in the top, and let's look at the AD carries right now. Trinity Force compared to an Infinity Edge is quite okay for both of them, but there's still the farm advantage in favor of Name, plus a kill and an assist.
Oh, gotta keep an eye out there. Is the Unbreakable from FZZF just really, really key, keeping it from getting bursted down. Culling was used by Name. Keep in mind, culling is like the worst ability to buy an Infinity Edge for. Like, Infinity Edge doesn't help your culling out at all, other than just the straight up AD. You don't get crit, you don't get attack speed, you don't get anything else that... Or, I mean, you get crit, but that doesn't work for the culling. You need the attack speed, maybe some armor penetration. Oh, big catch there. And look at the wombo combo coming in. There's a nice AoE stun from Jax. There's the command shockwave not used. Like, that was all. There's the command shockwave summoner. Heal gets FCZF out alive. I was like, why do you save command shockwave? And I think it's because OMG were kiting backwards, trying to bait EDG into the shockwave. They get it onto 2, but no kills.
Yeah, but they still got it right there for OMG. They didn't die. They did use the command shockwave. A lot of summoner spells. There was the heal from Name to try and save FZZF. Then FZZF even used his own flash. And this will most probably force a dragon for OMG, but there is contest coming in from EDG too. So that is a really weird one. It might turn into a big fight.
Yeah, and I don't think EDG are scared here at all. They've got Koro positioning very aggressively because they actually know that it was Dame that tanked a dragon shot, so his attack speed was a lot lower there for a second. They didn't go in on that. And Yu's actually split. He's positioning from the other side. He's got a FCZF there with him. So OMG are kind of pincered in here. And this is going to force them to back backwards instead of just to the side, away from that dragon.
There comes a teleport from Koro, actually. This will be a fight.
Yeah, it's just way back to the back line. We're going to see if EDG can catch up. Koro flashes out there, and he's just got KO damage all over this team fight. You can't run from Use Kassadin, or can you? I guess the answer is yes, but very low health there. OMG, when push came to shove and they were forced to fight, OMG ran. EDG, good job winning out that fight. Oh, Smite comes out there as well, and I believe that actually did go to Drug, so good job getting his blue buff, and now it's EDG on the run.
Why did EDG go for the dragon straight away?
EDG at 5v3 right here. Why are OMG going for dragon?
Well, there will come another teleport from Gogoing.
And I think Drug's looking for the Smite Steal, but he just smote steal his own blue buff, and so now when Gogoing flashes in here, he's going to be able to kill Clearlove, but taking down the jungler for Dragon is more than okay for EDG. Repel is not going to get you any closer. Cocoon will not land. Neither will the hook, so very close, but still no catches for OMG. They find one and take it back onto Clearlove. The Dragon goes to Edward Gaming.
So that's just incredible right now. both teams can't really be decisive. They are trying to go for the fights, but they can't really find any kills. And finally, OMG find a kill, but that's in exchange for a dragon. Not really worth it, and neither of the teams can really come out on top. It's still dead even right here because OMG will trade for the turret.
Coma or Dada 7 or whatever you want to call him, Neymar, he hasn't hit a hook almost at all. Oh, Yu's trying for that slow. The culling gonna come out there all over Neymar. More slows on this time. The Rift Walk gets Yu close enough to cool. Koro gonna flank in from the side. Yu missing a lot of these slows out there from the Void Pulse, but EDG trying to find a pick, can't find one either. So both EDG and OMG just struggling to force a fight.
And once again, EDG just going for the fight third time in a row right now. They can't really find any kill. They're using up pretty much everything that they have. They don't find a kill. Well, maybe the turret in the mid will finally go down.
Yeah, turret in the mid should be under a decent amount of pressure, at least for just a little bit of damage. But something that OMG has to keep an eye on is top lane. There is the biggest wave of their lives pushing down that top lane turret. They gotta take care of that. I mean, there's like 4 minion waves stacked up on that, so Cool is gonna rotate top lane. That means a lot of the wave clear is gone from mids, so I feel like if EDG stayed, they might could have taken that turret off of some mispositioning, but they will back out and take their own blue buff instead.
Yeah, definitely. Taking the blue buff is much more important than a turret at this stage. Actually, with a Kassadin, why not?
Yeah, it's still a good option just to make sure that Kassadin has the mana that he needs. And all the culling coming out again. Nami just does not care. You'll actually notice he's going for the Youmuu's Ghostblade second, which is kind of weird because if you commit for an Infinity Edge, you usually want as much crit chance as possible to just make that extra crit damage more effective. And you do get crit from Youmuu's, so it's a little bit of a weird hybrid. It's a nice build that I believe Nami actually was the one to pioneer it. It's making it look good, and it's looking good here tonight. 1-0-1. Not the greatest score, but it's about as good as you can get with only 3 kills on the board.
Yeah, Nami is always the one to bring out the Youmuu's Ghostblade on whatever champion he plays. So, yeah, that's just what he does. He will take the Youmuu's Ghostblade after this Infinity Edge, and actually is in the front lines trying to bring this turret down. I know if you have seen it, just jumping in, putting 2 auto attacks, and running away with Relentless Pursuit.
Exactly, and it's a really slow-paced, patient way to play the game, but sometimes it's what it takes to crack these turrets. It's been EDG almost always on the aggression, but especially around that previous dragon fight, you can tell they're not afraid to back off and give things up. And stun from going, jumping in onto Koro. He is very, very low. Cocoon left to come out, but the death sentence lands Koro. I think he had some Trindrome right there where you think you're gonna live, but no ult to save him.
Well, that is kind of a weird thing to come out from EDG. Right now, Nami didn't even bring this turret in the middle lane down. Korowan was so close to bringing this in the bot down, but he still didn't make it and died in exchange.
But EDG have some catch potential here. They can get around from behind. Clearlove's gonna go in. There's the TP. Turret's actually low. You're gonna see San trying to finish it up, but he's not gonna be there in time. Yu's gonna try to come back in with enough damage, but a big command shockwave. And look at that area of effect coming out from OMG. They've got the Corki damage. Yu stays alive even though he gets hit by the Cocoon. He finds the kill there onto Drug, but Koro's still dead from the last time. EDG find a 1-for-0 trade, which is about as much as they can ask. Still lose their mid turret though.
No, it was Korowan going down in this fight. He teleported in.
Oh, that's right. He did TP in. I looked and saw that he's dead, and I was like, oh yeah, he's still dead. But he dies, TP's in, dies again, and the dieback from Koro really hurting his teamfight presence. But
yeah,
at least that time is 1-for-1.
He used the intervention on Clearlove, who was already out of the fight. He did what he had to do and run away. So that was a little bit of a wasted intervention. He also went down without doing anything on the scale. So a little bit of a bad fight, but Koro won. But Yu, on the other hand, he was doing so well.
Yeah, and we're going to see a little bit of replay here. You can see Clearlove perfectly timing his engage. Hits only 2 people, though, with his ultimate, so his shield wears off pretty quickly. And when he gets death sentenced in, there's Kale with the immediate ult, but Clearlove still flashes out, so he's not really using that Kale ult to the biggest effect. Big AoE coming out from Command Shockwave into Sans Corky Rockets. Like, that by itself was what turned that team fight around for OMG. Otherwise, could have been a comeback. So both teams actually playing this very, very closely. It's going in and out, in and out. Nice bait by EDG, but still winds up going even. And with Dragon back, it's up again live. OMG, they're going to go for that objective. And should be able to take it relatively uncontested, but will trade their middle turret.
Yep, you will take this one finally. A little bit of a catch coming in from 777.
It looked cool, but you're trying to catch a Kassadin without damage to follow up. So you just Rift Walk his way away.
Also.
Oh, but an immediate teleport there from going. No CC from Clearlove, so the TP will complete. Now, in the meantime, we got Yu. He's still looking for the Rift Walk, finds it over the wall, but burns about half his mana pool doing that. Flash out, not me. He's getting a little bit over aggressive, but now, oh, the rotation, it's so good. OMG, they're going to find the kill onto FCZF. The big one coming out from San and locking him down there. Drug's looking for the guaranteed play, and he gets the rest of his team. A huge pick there from OMG. They find a catch onto the duo for Edward Gaming, and pings onto Baron. Oh, this is LPL. You got to go for Baron before you win the game, and so instead of pushing turrets, OMG are going to find a 27-minute Baron versus Edward Gaming just off of the pick on the bottom lane.
EDG have a good chance of taking this one too. Koro, Yu, and Clearlove, they also have them.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be Clearlove's biggest ultimate of his life. Goes in, gets slowed there. Baron's still very low, but they're not going to be smiting it down there. Clearlove flashes out. Command Shockwave only hits on a Koro. Yu's in the back there, or in the front rather, trying to get this damage down. So good. And there's FCZF for the Wombo combo, or for the duo. Got that combo in there. Yu looking for the slow. Won't have it anymore. FCZF blocking the rockets. Yu still has plenty of mana to go for this chase, but overall a big stop on Baron. EDG, keep that from going away just yet.
Well, 2 for 2, leaving this Jax so low on health and stopping the Baron, that is a really good trade from OMG. If they had going down 2, that would have been like the best trade they could have got, but still, 2 for 2 is really nice. And finally, a first kill for Koro. Also,
exactly. Like, Koro's been looking for them all game long. Like, it never looks like impressive if you're just like 0-3 in lane. Like, you gotta get in there and contribute. And one thing you'll actually notice is that Koro went for the distortion upgrade on his boots. It decreases the cooldown on both your flash, your ghost, and your TP. Of course, he doesn't have ghosts, so still gonna make him able to come back to the fight even that much more quickly. And you actually saw him able to TP there because there wasn't a whole lot of focus from OMG at trying to block him out. So big things to watch out for in this next fight will probably be either Dada7 or Neymar, whatever you want to call him, lands a hook, catches somebody, and they die instantly, and OMG win, or Edward Gaming just continue to use this expert kiting from Yuan Kassadin to just pick OMG apart.
So EDG is still hanging on to this game because Nami got a turret in the top. You got a turret in the middle lane right now. Korwan finishes off the turret in the bot, so they got a lot of gold from these ones. And they're still keeping it even in the game, but the Baron focus coming up from OMG, this will just get bigger and bigger around this Baron buff, the focus on it.
Should see things go actually relatively passively, at least for the next few minutes. Neither team really has dominant ward coverage around the Baron area, so you'll need to see some pretty heavy pink ward sweeping. You can see Neymar doing it right now. So Edward Gaming will have to go counter this, and right on time, FCZF comes back with his sweeper, trying to keep control of that area. Now, oh, Koro is being very sneaky in that side brush, but doesn't actually want to fight going. Respecting to a lot of resistance stats after his Trinity Force.
Alright, so on the other hand, we do have Name with this Yomu's Ghostblade finished off. Going for a Zeal right now. And EDG actually looking to get into the jungle of OMG.
Oh, and the culling coming out over the wall, not good enough, but Cool does wind up with the blue buff. I was like, who has it? There's 2 blue buffs out there, but yeah, Cool does take that blue buff away for himself.
So no steal coming out at all. Not even the jungle smite securing it. Big patience from OMG right there on this blue buff fight too.
Yeah, that is
Now
actually
we're-
really true. It's something we actually didn't see from World Elite several times in their first 2 games versus World Elite Academy. They just kind of jumped the gun. Specifically Wei Zhao, who several times dove into 3 people. So you do have to play this one very, very patiently. Because I almost feel like it's one thing to say a team is good at team fighting, but EDG are just so good at capitalizing. It's just like something happens, and they know what the high percentage play is to make off of that. So let's see exactly what's going on right now. Probably just the 4-1 split push from both teams. Pressure around the Baron area, as both supports will look to clear that out. And currently it is going to be FCZF doing a little bit better job with that.
Yeah, he's just closer to this place right now. But Data will be getting in there in just a second too. EDG actually, well, with Core 1 teleporting into this Baron fight, they do get a bigger power spike than with just Jax from the other side. But Core 1 might have a little bit of problems around this bottom lane.
A little bit of a pick there. Koro, he's starting to feel the pressure as, yeah, going. It's just overall stronger. There's Kale actually forced away, and Koro makes it out alive, but you can just see the strength of going right there. 2-0-4 on a Jax, and it's coming into like the 35-minute mark. Like, there isn't a whole lot stronger champion than you get as the game draws later and later on.
Yeah, and this Jax is actually a lot stronger than both of the Jaxes we have seen today already. 204, no deaths at all, just being so strong, super strong, and even dealing with such a champion like Kale so easily. That's really good.
Man, speaking of really good, like, there comes a point where you just have to fight one another, and here it looks like it's the moment's at hand. The culling coming out on it, Cool, and Name just crits him down, blowing him up there at the side, and now, oh, it's 7-7-7. He needs to nickname himself back to, like, 13, something a little bit more indicative of his luck this game, and off of 2 huge picks, the biggest culling in Name's life, he finds a pick, and now it's going to be, Baron found as well. Edward Gaming just blowing the game open. And ironically enough, after the pick on to 7-7-7, the score is actually 7-2-7 off the back of that.
Oh, we could just look for the 7s all around in here. It doesn't really mean too much, but all I know that means it is EDG dominating the game once again with the Baron buff. They will be sieging for the middle lane, and actually it's a good thing to pay the attention to cameras of the players at the bottom of the screen, because when Cool got caught, he didn't even have his other hand on the keyboard. He just clicked away with the mouse and already was facepalming.
Exactly, like that feeling when you like press tab to like buy your items in the shop and somebody winds up stopping your recall and killing you. Like, oh, it's the worst feeling ever. When you know that you single-handedly, like, you got caught, you cost your team that Baron, like, that is a lot of pressure have on you coming in here to a game you still need to come back from if you're OMG.
All right, so 7-7, as you said right now. The goal lead still isn't too big. It's just 2k in favor of EDG, and Koro can't really deal with the Jax, so, well, they do have a little bit of an advantage, but not in every aspect of the game.
I guess I can see where you're coming from with that, so maybe a little bit, but not quite. I mean, this game is still very, very even. Less than 2,000 gold separates both these teams. Okay, slightly more than 2,000 gold separates these two teams, which at the 40-minute mark is just, it's peanuts. Nobody cares about that the tiny amount of gold. The biggest difference is where that gold difference is. If you look at Name, he's got 4 items on his AD carry, whereas you look across the board to San, he's got like 2.5.
All right, so EDG will be strolling up the middle lane once again, but what do they want to get right here if they have already taken the inner turrets? Well, taking down the inhibitor one will be quite hard, especially against this Orianna and Corki.
Yeah, Corky, as much as I'm talking about how much further behind Sant is, he's 203, and he's looking for a bunch of damage. No armor penetration just yet, but you actually can forgo that on Corky, just because his passive gives you some true damage, the more actual damage you bring out. So, just thinking about that, it's not the worst idea just to go for some straight up AD. Makes the rockets hit pretty hard, so...
Alright, but still there is the 100 CS difference. And actually looking at the middle lane, even more than 100 CS difference right there.
But in the opposite
favor
direction.
Of OMG.
Yeah, exactly. So the carry's vastly different as far as where they're getting their gold from. Mid lane, cool. As much as we've been kind of giving him a hard time, he has 100 extra CS over Cassidy. Like, it's no surprise to watch Cassidy get out CS, but 100 CS, like, there's some problems with that. It really limits the scaling of a champion against a mid laner who's just going to pick up 100 more CS than you are. To put that in perspective, if each CS is worth 20 gold, that's 2,000 gold just off of minions.
Alright, so might actually be something coming in. You have Sun in a little bit of a bad positioning.
Oh, but now Koro 1's going to take a lot of damage. The death sentence will land, but OMG is just forced to flash. Yu's just going to chase them all down. There's one. There's two. The chase continues for Edward Gaming. Going, going to turn down the stun and actually take out Yu. No, Yu stays alive, and Drug can't even find the kill onto him. Oh, OMG are not going to be able to survive this very much longer. There's huge shockwave. It's big, but it's not enough. Yeah, Yu actually almost died to turret shot, but he was just barely out of range. Oh my gosh, EDG find the team fight 5-0 and look to crush down OMG's base.
How did you even stay alive through that?
And how did Clear Love live too? He lived there from the turret shot with like 2 hit points. Oh my gosh.
It's just too strong. And look at Cole in his chair right now. Just looking at the champion, at the player cameras is enough to know what they are feeling at the moment.
Exactly.
OMG, well, their mid laner seems to have given up on this game actually.
Yeah, cool and calm, both character traits of OMG's mid laner. You can see he was actually like slouching all the way down in his chair, just like not necessarily like bored or slow or something. He was just really comfortable with the way the game's going, but I don't think he's going to be too comfortable with it now that Edward Gaming pull away from the 2,000 gold difference to now almost 10,000 gold. We're going to get a replay of this team fight as Clear Love and FZZF, they immediately separate San, and San has his escape already planned out there. He's going for the Valkyrie, but then he's forced to flash over the wall when Yu comes in, and then there's already Koro starting that fight before even the rest of EDG get there. This might have been a little bit early, but everybody just funneling right through the corridor. Edward Gaming, they grab 1, 2, and then just continue to pulse themselves into the base. You, of course, now here's where he almost dies. They kill off the damage after taking out Jax, but there's just no follow-up. Command Shockwave's pretty good, but not good enough. Edward Gaming win the team fight and take down the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, and San got caught so far away from his team. It's just incredible. He had to use his Valkyrie and then his flash and still didn't even get far away from EDG. They just had him on their hands all the time. And EDG actually overconfident right here, in my opinion.
Now, big thing to notice here, FZZF overstaying his welcome is probably going to die, but should be a trade 1-for-1. It's Going's going to going down. Command Shockwave's good, but it just pulls EDG closer. They're going to dive in for even more kills. You will force the Rift to walk away, but off of those picks, it's the second inhibitor. Edward Gaming, they're not even leaving.
Mid.
Yeah, Super Minion's starting to funnel back in. Name just dashes forward. He knows he's got the damage. He's going long, and ultimate coming out from Kale keeps him alive. They're off the crazy dive, but is this actually the game? I don't think Edward Gaming can close it out just yet, but there's not a whole lot stopping them as they back off.
They will be backing up, but still having 2 inhibitors already is a very big thing. And OMG can't really stop them. They killed the support, but what? It's just the support, no problem. Or EDG will just kill their carries once again. And it's even going down so frequently. And he has the frozen heart too. So it's not that he's squishy.
Yeah, it's something to point out, the Frozen Heart Jax. It's something that a lot of Chinese top laners like to get on champions like Gragas, but you really don't see it out there. It's a pretty rough item to put on a lot of champions. Speaking of some interesting itemization, if you look at Koro 1's Kayle, he actually went with a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Like, you know, talking item that has never been seen on Kayle like, previously in the world. The Rylai's, it's primarily, I think there's only one spell that Kayle has that utilizes it, is this Q for the super slow, but it already slows, so not sure what you're looking at for that. It doesn't apply to the auto attacks, so because the autos apply on hit spells, and they don't count as an actual spell via the Righteous Furor, so not sure about the Rylai's, but the Q is gonna slow for a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And EDG once again setting up for a Baron.
Oh yeah, Baron's gonna go down, and it's actually gonna be Drug with the Smite Steal.
Whoa.
And now the Command Shockwave coming in. There's a nice death sentence there as well, knocking down Koro in the back. But EDG are just way too tanky there. Clear Love just juggling aggro very, very effectively. And oh, Drug's gonna get the worst end. But yeah, just keep looking at the culling coming out cool. Nowhere to run. FZZF's just way too tanky, and Name's just gonna clean up the fight. It's 5-for-1 exchange in favor of Edward Gaming. And EDG is gonna close out the game.
Clear Love even stayed alive right there. Even the teleport coming up from Koro. And EDG will be taking this one. But you just went into the middle of the fight. Zhonya's used and jumped in once again. Why? And died. But still, EDG taking this game home. 1-0 over OMG.
So congratulations, OMG will take down game number 1, but it's not over yet. In order to keep, I think actually, wow, when I look at the standings, OMG with that win, they actually secure for themselves first place, if I'm not mistaken, or they tie for first. So there's no possible way that Edward Gaming can get first place now, but OMG can retake first place if they win this game. No, OMG can tie for first place. EDG can take it if they win both games. There you go. Standings. How do you standings? But we'll go ahead and recap game number 1 and take you guys into game 2 after we take a quick commercial break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for the best of 2 series, the conclusion, last game of the night. As OMG take on Edward Gaming here in the LPL, of course, broadcast